Hi, I'm Dan Costa, Chief Content Officer at Worth Media Group, and I am here at the Milken Global Conference in Los Angeles. My guest is John Chambers, the founder and CEO of JC2 Ventures. John, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to me.
Dan, it's going to be a pleasure. I want to do the best interview you do at this conference.
I think we've already got a great head start. I'm so excited to talk to you because you have seen so many market transitions over the years, so many challenging business environments. I personally feel like I've never seen anything like where we are today in terms of the regulatory environment, in terms of the global economics, and then with AI sliding in and disrupting almost every business that's out there. Tell me how you see this moment compared to other moments in history.
Well, I have the opportunity to come from the technology side, IBM mainframes, Wang mini computers, client servers, then with Cisco at the internet. And Cisco literally changed the way the world works, lives, learns, and plays. And so to grow a company from 400 people to 75,000, do 180 acquisitions, at one point in time the most valuable company in the world. But also we saw every transition that occurred. Some of them perhaps I contributed to in a positive, some perhaps in a negative, and lessons learned. So I have seen this movie many times. The difference this time is because of AI and the speed of the global issues at one time. As you and I discussed earlier, it's like having 9 variables in an equation. You're changing all 9 at one time, so you don't know cause and effect on it. I think my advice to companies is similar to earlier transitions. The advice is, number one, take a look and determine what did you do yourself, self-inflicted, and what is market-inflicted. And it's usually the combination of the two. I think the challenges right now are largely market-inflicted for most startups that I'm familiar with and the larger companies, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing your spring cleaning and getting your own act together. And then it is basically saying, what are you going to do, the 5 to 7 programs you're going to run to deal with the uncertainty? How do you measure that? Communicate it to your employees, to your customers, to your partners. How do you do the basics, which is pause for a moment. This is my advice to all my companies. The minute tariffs came out, I said, let's pause, let's see what happens here.
It would have been really good advice, because they changed a week later.
Well, it changes constantly, but that's the new environment we're in. And then basically say what we're going to look like when you come out of it. Different than before, I said, use the downturn to your advantage and use it a chance to break away and to put more into your pipeline than you did otherwise. And then most important for everyone, paint your picture of what you look like when you come out of it. To those viewers out there, great companies will be created during the downturn. When everything goes well, that's usually not the occurrence. Is there a replicatable playbook? Yes. What's different versus the prior slowdowns in 2001, 2008, the dot-com bubble, the Great Recession? The speed of change. AI and the implementation here is causing 5 times the speed and about 3 times the results that we've seen before. So if you make a wrong turn, you're not only off the curve, you're way over in the valley.
And a lot of companies have already made some bad turns in terms of driving AI adoption and driving programs. There were very expensive AI programs that were launched in 2023 that were poorly thought through, cost a lot of money, and didn't deliver a lot of value. I've seen some restructuring, so people are taking a different approach now, but what advice do you have for companies that see the potential but don't necessarily know how to grab the value from it?
Well, I think first of all, those companies who don't try to disrupt themselves and the market will get left behind. Secondly, every company, regardless of industry, will be an AI company. I don't care if you're in healthcare, manufacturing, government, finance, or tech itself. Third, just like the internet, the early projects on the internet, most of them failed. And one of the things we did at Cisco was we went in and said, it's not about technology, it's how to use technology to get the outcomes you want. So I think there's an opportunity for companies to help their customers, their partners transition through that. And I'm doing it with some of my hottest startups such as Unifor on AI experience, customer service, across the enterprise, on security, areas like the deep fakes with Pindrop out of Atlanta. So I actually would probably go the other way. I don't think most companies are moving fast enough, but the point you're making, it isn't just about speed. You've got to have a process behind it and outcome, what you're going to do differently as you move forward. But you will be left behind if you're not an AI company within the next 2 to 3 years, regardless of industry.
That advice to take the pause is there, but don't pause for too long.
Exactly.
And get moving again as fast as you can.
Then make the call as best as you can. We're not going to have all the answers to that equation. Get your data in place, decide on your strategy, communicate it to your employees, to your shareholders, to your board, then have the courage to move. My real advice is those people who pause too long will get left behind. That's a given.
Given all these changes, a lot of people are looking overseas, global markets for opportunities, investment opportunities. That's what one of the things you've been talking about at the conference is India and the potential of India as an investment opportunity, as an engine for innovation. Tell me a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people overlook India in that regard.
Completely agree. Remember, people say that I'm the biggest bull in India for the last 2 decades, and that is true. I moved my second world headquarters at Cisco to India, not for the labor arbitrage, because of the talent. I felt the growth would be there. However, it wasn't until you get a great leader that suddenly a country or a company's future is really determined. With Modi, he is the right leader at the right time. I said that within the first year of his leadership. I led the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum, how our companies and countries can work dramatically closer together in a way that no country's ever done before. And it was a dream 8 years ago that Biden and Modi announced 2 years ago, and Trump echoed again about how important our relationship is with Vice President Vance's trip there and Trump's confidence that they'll be able to resolve the tariffs between our two countries in an effective way. India will be the largest GDP in the world. When I said that in front of Modi in Washington, a lot of people hesitated, but you look at the math, it will be. And they are like the U.S., a democracy. So if I were betting on two countries working together, it would be U.S.-India. If I were a startup, I would either do it in the U.S. or do it in India, and my second location would be in the other country. I think we can do so much together on it. In terms of key geographies that I'm recommending my startups invest in, candidly, it's the Middle East, especially the Gulf states. What Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, is doing is amazing there, UAE, Qatar, etc. And then India. But then I'm still extremely bullish on the U.S. long term. We'll navigate through our challenges, we always do.
Yeah, the thing that people don't always appreciate about India is that it's also a great consumer market. You're going to have 1 billion people rise up into the middle class, and that's going to be transformative. It's going to be a market into itself.
It is.
And in the new environment, that's important.
Well, you do the math. 1.4 billion people going to 2 billion. China was the most populous nation in the world. It's going from 1.4 to 800 million. India is innovative, a democracy, empowers the teams, even though in Silicon Valley I realize we have some unique personalities, but creativity and innovation doesn't occur without people taking risks that kind of like living on the edge. And I like living a little bit on the edge as well on it. So I think what you see is a country that clearly gets that in India, and what you see is a country that clearly gets it in the U.S., and creativity can occur. And one of the reasons I'm so bullish about the Gulf states and the Middle East is their top leaders now, especially in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, are saying, I'm going to use technology to transform my whole industry, my country's future. So commonalities on leadership, I think so.
Yeah, that's great. Honestly, this is one of the most optimistic interviews that I've done here at the Milken Global Conference. I thank you for that. I think a lot of people have been looking for that optimism. Do you have any, how can we share that? What message do you want to get out to people?
Well, first, I deal with the world the way it is. My two parents were both doctors. They taught me to deal with the world the way it is. The day the tariffs were announced, I called up all 24 of my startups and said, we're going to fasten our seatbelts. I think we're in for some serious economic uncertainty, that we may go into a recession, and I think the odds, I put it at that time, were 50-50. I asked each one of them to develop a plan on how do you navigate through it. Do your spring cleaning, things you should have probably addressed earlier, and move resources around. Focus on productivity of 7 to 10% growth per year using AI yourself, and then focus about what you're going to do differently to achieve your goals long term, and then put another 15 to 25% into your pipeline, which sounds easy to do. And Dan, you can imagine the CEOs and chief revenue officers looked at me like, what? And don't you think I would have already been doing that, John, if I could have? I said, no, you're not approaching it creatively enough. What strategic partnerships should you focus on? Where are your customers going to have even more need during this period of uncertainty? What new segments might you launch your products in quicker than before? So to me, I actually love uncertainty because that's when you break away. I'm a risk taker by nature. All of us say we love change, we really don't. But if you're going to lead in this future, you have to have the courage to change and then be agile and flexible, which I used to think were marketing terms. In today's world, you've got to be both.
Excellent. John, thanks so much for taking some time and talking to me today.
Dan, it's my pleasure.
Great to see you. I'm Dan Costa with Worth. You can see more videos like this on YouTube. I'll see you there.